So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sharon Whiteman, and it's my great pleasure and privilege to partner with Diana and Gary weekly on this call. And it is for selfish reasons. We know it gives benefit to our great community through Australasia, but also we grow and learn from it as well. And today we're very lucky to have Ty Tribble. He always says yes. He's always ready to contribute to our community, and I'm very grateful and thank you for that, Ty. So a little bit about Ty's background. He's an internet entrepreneur, author, and work-at-home dad who lives in Seattle, Washington with his wife, Rochelle. Ty has been featured in Entrepreneur and Success from Home magazine and is considered by many as the founding father of network marketing bloggers. Author of the book, Double Your Income with Network Marketing, Ty was named as one of the 52 brightest minds in network marketing, and he's listed as one of the top 75 motivational speakers in the world by Business for Home. Ty is a bronze presidential director with Manatech, and he's just a master coach and mentor. You know, you guys make sure you have your notepad there ready. I'm going to go off camera, Ty, and have my notepad ready. And thank you again for being here.
It is certainly my pleasure and awesome. And, you know, first of all, Sharon and I had a little discussion prior to this call. And I said, how long is the call? Or how long has the call been? Or something along those lines. And she said 17 years. And I'm like, well, I've been around the industry for since 1991, I think. But filling 17 years in one call would be very difficult. But
oh dear, it's early for me, Ty. Be forgiving.
But the thing that amazed me about that 17 years is that having a consistent call like this put on by Sharon and Diana and Gary on a regular basis that you can plug into and gain that knowledge is really it's phenomenal. It's a blessing, and I hope you don't take it for granted, because it's a big deal to get people to come in on a regular basis to share what they're doing and get different perspectives. And so not only are you going to learn from different people, but you're also going to be able to plug in some of the people within your team that might relate to different personalities in a better way than you might. Certainly there's people on my team that relate to probably Sharon's training and they certainly relate to other folks better than myself. And so it's really cool when you have a collective team. You're building your team, but you also have a collective team that's really out for the betterment of everyone. So for that, I congratulate you, and 17 years of progress and calls from 2003 are really, I look back at 2003, it was the first year I started blogging. It's also the first year I did Google AdWords. And those were like cutting edge technology. And so having to be able to find recordings from those years is very impressive. So hats off to you guys. So I have a question for you to kick it off today. Who would like to make more money in Manatech between now and the end of the year? If you would just say yes in the chat, raise your hand, whatever you want to do. Really want to make sure that we're on the same page, because that's really what I'm here to share with you today. So if you're into it, fantastic. Let's do it. I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can really begin implementing, 3 things that you can begin implementing today that I believe will help increase your bonus check almost immediately. And they may seem like arbitrary things to a certain extent. I'm not going to give you comp plan tweaks or anything like that. It's probably not I don't feel it's my place to train you on the specifics of Manatech in that way. But if I can give you kind of some things that you can work on and implement, then they will have an impact on not only you, but your team as well too. So we're looking for the best year in Manatech ever for you. And the reality is no matter what's happened in the previous 6 months, you can begin today and still make the final 6 months of 21 your best ever. So I'm going to give you 3 things. I'm going to really deep dive into the third one. So I'm going to give you the three things first, and then we'll dive in each one a little bit, and I'm really going to deep dive into the third one. So hopefully that makes sense, and it will once we get cooking. So number one is becoming a better people person. There's one trait that I would say without a doubt that every single 6, 7, 8-figure network marketer that I know, they are people persons. They're people. People like them. People want to hang out with them. They make people feel better for having come in contact with them. And I got to tell you, you know, one great example in Manatech is Ray Robbins. I get a phone call every once in a while from Ray Robbins, maybe every couple weeks, something like that. And it's just to say, hey, and to see how I'm doing, see if I need anything, congratulate me on my month, that kind of stuff. And it's really that guy, wherever I've met him, I've felt better in a number of ways having spent time with him. And that's the kind of person you want to be. You want to make sure that every single person you come into contact with feels better for having come in contact with you. Couple of different ways you can do that. One is ask questions and then listen. When I was younger, certainly younger in this business, I was really felt like I needed to talk the entire time of any one-on-one presentation, or any time I got in front of a group. I wanted to just be the center of the room and talk. And you know what? It gets you a little bit, but not far. You want to be a question person and a listener. And you know what's funny is I've had hour-long conversations with people where I don't think I spoke for a minute, except interjecting with questions and having that other person continue to speak. And then I'll hear from a third party that maybe knows both of us and say, they think you are the greatest person in the world. They think you're so knowledgeable and so have so much tremendous information that you can pass on. And it's funny because like I didn't pass on a single bit of information in that conversation. I just asked questions and was genuinely interested in the answer. We'll get to that a little bit more. But ask questions and really learn to listen. Number two, part of being a people person is being enthusiastic and excited, especially about your business. As we move into this new world of business, there's a huge number of people in the world who have been working from home as a result of the crisis and the virus and all that kind of stuff. And what I would tell you that companies, I think that they're going to be lenient to start with, but at some point, I bet you're going to see companies say, we want you back in the office. And there's going to be a huge number of people that got a little taste of freedom. I'm lucky enough to have been working from home since, I guess, probably 2003. And I've known that level of freedom. And now we have a huge number of people that have experienced just a taste of that freedom. And I'm telling you right now, they're going to want to continue it. So if we can just be enthusiastic and excited about our Manatech business as we talk to people about it, you don't have to convince. This is one thing that I learned a long time ago. I felt like sometimes my job was to sell someone, and yes, we sell. I mean, I look at it that way. A lot of people would rather say we share, but in reality, selling is not a bad thing. We sell in life every day, but if you want to get good at selling Manatech and selling the products, the enthusiastic and excitement level. I'm not saying a scary level of excitement. This is like there are network marketers that you walk away from and you go, they're just crazy. And so we're not talking about a crazy level of excitement, but an enthusiastic excitement, genuine excitement about what we're doing, because it will, when people expose themselves and raise their hand and say, I want to work from home, I want to become more healthy, I want to lose weight, whatever the case may be, those are the easy people to sell. You're just basically presenting what Manatech is on a platter, and they go, oh, that's exactly what I want. Once you find out what people want and give it to them, and this is really will be a main focus of what I'm going to talk about on the third part of this, your job as a Manatech associate and representative becomes way easier, because then once you're finding out what the other person wants, you're just giving it to them. The number 3 area of becoming a better people person is just staying positive. Just staying positive. When the crisis hit, literally, I think it was the day after, okay? The day after we got, day before, within a couple days, we got shut down here in the US, or here in my area, Washington State, kind of northwest corner of the United States. My wife slipped while trying to step over a box and devastatingly broke her ankle in a bad way. And, you know, so here we are, we're basically locked in our house. My wife can't move. So I'm like a nurse in addition to everything I usually do on a regular basis. In addition to continuing to run my business and not knowing how that's going to look in the COVID crisis, COVID world. So it was there was a level of stress in the house, and my wife is doing great today, but she really did a number on her, like to the point where I had to like move. So we sleep upstairs in our house, and we had to move our bed into our what used to be our dining room. I changed it over to kind of a more bar to have friends over and have fun. And so we turned that into a bedroom, and it was a weird dynamic. But you know what? The one thing my wife did, and when you see my wife at a convention or something like that, you'll know, just follow the laughing. She stayed positive through that whole entire process, breaking her ankle, literally having to be on crutches, not being able to do anything. I mean, I had to shuttle her to the shower and all that kind of stuff. So she's doing great now, by the way. But her ankle will probably never be exactly the same, and she really did a deal. But it happens, and nothing to do with like her bones being brittle or anything like that. She just twisted it wrong, and there it went. It happens a lot with people. But she had a great surgeon, but through that whole entire thing, the surgery and everything else, she stayed very, very positive. One other weird thing, I mean, this is like right as the COVID thing was hitting, and my son, we're in the emergency room of the hospital, and they're starting to wheel people in with oxygen masks on, and it was a freaky deal. But there's my wife, happy, broken leg, but happy as could be, and positive. And it's infectious. People just want to hang out with those kind of people. I try to learn from my wife in that area, but staying positive is very attractive. So those are 3 areas that you can just jump into and really become a better people person. It's like, doesn't happen overnight in a lot of ways, but this is something that you can start doing in your life and begin to make a difference. The number 2 area that we can work on is, and I'm not going to talk a ton about this, but let me just say that there's a huge number of people that get talked to about a business and then never get talked to again. There's a big drop off from in follow-up and tracking of contacts in every single network marketing business. I'm not talking about just ours, but every single one. And I think there's something internal that makes this so. And the internal thing is we tend to like feel, oh, that person's probably not interested, so I'm just going to let them, let them go. And in reality, a follow-up process can take months and sometimes years. And so I would just challenge you to, when you talk to someone about Manatech, not to give up on them ever. Just continually, I'm not saying call them every single day or bug the crap out of them, but follow up until they say, I'm not interested right now, or whatever the case may be. I can't imagine, there's not a lot of people that are not interested in at least one of our products, okay, or the business side of things. And I'm more driven on the product side of things to lead with in today's marketplace than the business side of things. I think the business people kind of stand up and wave their hands. The product to me is an easier approach personally. But there's so many people that will talk to someone and then never talk to them again. It happens all the time. Over my years of experience in the network marketing industry, I can tell you that I have shown someone a presentation, and they said, and halfway through they say, you know what, you don't have to talk anymore, I'm in. I'm like, whoa, that's interesting. Why would you say that? And they say, I've seen this presentation 2 weeks ago, and the person was supposed to follow up with me and get back to me, and they never did. So I'd rather sign up with you because you obviously are seem more professional and da da da. And it's our own self image. I think in a lot of ways we just assume they're not interested. If I can give you one thing today, is assume that they are interested because you have something amazing. Okay. The one tweak I want you to make that will change everything for you in 2021 is assume they're interested. Assume they're in. Speak as though they're going to be interested, that you have something that they're going to want, because many, many, many will. The ones that don't, I don't worry about. There's a lot of people that like count the no's, and I have no idea how many people have told me no. I go for yes. And if they say no, I say, do you mind if I follow up with you in 6 months, just to check in and see if things have changed? And the vast majority of people say, oh yeah, that's fine. It's being a professional, right? So follow up and track those contacts. I don't know what kind of a tool you might use to track contacts. There's a lot of different things out there, but it's a good idea. And you can do this on social media as well as in person. And that really leads to the third thing, and that's just becoming, what I would say is becoming a better networker, but I'm going to change that and say become a world-class networker. And I'm going to give you 10 things that will nudge you in the direction of doing that. And if you work on these 10 things on a regular basis, you are going to be so far ahead of the average person. And I'm going to give you two books to read that from one of the most astounding networkers I've ever come into contact with. His name is Bob Burg, Bobburg. And so the two books, many have probably heard of these, but one is called The Go Giver. So The Go Giver. And the other one is called Endless Referrals. Endless Referrals. And so some of the information may say, oh, Ty copied Bob Burg on a lot of this stuff. It's probably true. I steal information. I'm a reader like none other. And I do as best I possibly can to give credit where credit is due. But I get a lot of information from, none of this stuff is off the top of my head, right? This is years of experience, learning, listening to leaders, reading as much as I can, and working to become a better networker myself. So 10 tips that will help you become a better networker. This is actually from my book, which I think you can get online if you want to do that is double your income in network marketing. I don't have any more here. I used to have a handful I would give out on a call like that, but I'm out. So so number one, give value without any thought of what you might get back in return. So in this case, like one of the greatest things that about giving is the I can never say this word, reciprocity of people feel internally the need to give back to you after you've given to them. And I'm not saying you give to get back. That's not what it's talking about. But you give without any thought of what you may get back in return. It comes back in return. There's a positive action that happens, and that positive action from giving is met by a positive action the other direction. Psychological term. So if you give someone a referral, you can bet that many of those people are going to be looking out for you in the future. There's been many times where I'll show someone one of our products or the business, and they say, you know, I have. They just show that they have an interest in something else. And if I know someone in another company or something along those lines, and I can give that person a referral or refer them to the right product that fits their need better than ours. I mean, it's a rare case. Then I might give a referral to what some people would consider a competitor, but it comes back over and over and over again. If you're honest and the type of person that will just go out and make sure that you're looking out for the best for that other person, it's going to come back a million times fold. Number two is always speak respectfully of your competition. I used to just hammer the competition because I felt like we were better in so many ways. Don't need to, really. As a matter of fact, people kind of go, whoa, they're kind of negative, right? And interesting enough, the people you're talking to may not remember what you said about the competition. They're just going to remember that your attitude about the competition. Okay, so don't be afraid to differentiate. There's a lot of things why Manatech stands out from a synthetic vitamin, for example. I mean, one of the things that this is a little bit of a sidebar, but I think it's worthy. Over the pandemic, interest in plant-based products and such increased by almost 250%. Our True Health Shake is a plant-based product. Frankly, every one of our products is plant-based, okay? So realizing that, I think it was like something like 14, this is US numbers, 14% of the people that bought, that went to the grocery store put something plant-based in their cart. And I'm not talking about like vegetables. I'm talking about like a meal or something along those lines, you know, faux chicken nuggets or a hamburger or possible burger or all this other stuff that has come out today. 14% of the people puts one of those types of products into their cart versus like 7 to 10% a year ago. So it's almost doubled in that time, and interest has increased tremendously. So we have a product that is totally fits that marketplace, yet we don't really think about it that way in a lot of times. It's really, really interesting. We get kind of caught up in our own little world of why we love Manatech and don't open our eyes to the bigger picture, which is Manatech should be a billion-dollar company in the next 5 years, given the trends, if we just do a little bit more of what we are very capable of doing. Okay. Number 3 is focus on helping people get what they want. I think there's an old adage that says, help enough people get what they want and you'll never worry about getting what you want. Okay. And that is very, very true when it comes to networking. And networking, you know, it's like, this could be online, this could be offline. It's just really, truly reaching out and being of service to other people. And yes, the motive is you're in business and you want to increase your business, whether it's through associates or through customers. And that's okay. It's okay to have a motive. It's okay to feel an actual obligation to tell people about Manatech products because of what we do. The fact that we feed I think it's 100,000 kids a day. 100,000 kids a day are fed because of what we do in Manatech. That alone should be an insane motivator to many people. What we're doing is very, very good. So never feel like, oh, I'm in one of those things and I don't know, should I share it? Should I not share it? Should I tell them? Should I not tell them? You should feel absolutely empowered and amazing about what you have your hands on in Manatech. And I still today would say it's the best kept secret in network marketing for sure. Number 4 is encourage others at every opportunity. Sometimes you see talent in others that they won't recognize in themselves. I've tried to do this in every aspect of my life. I with my kids, with people that I worked with in the past, and encourage them to go further. I look at myself sometimes as maybe a talent scout in a lot of ways. I like to see what people can that people can do more that they might not even realize that they could. And then once someone says it to them, it starts to click a little bit and they go, oh, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can be better. Maybe I can break through. And sometimes that's just one little bit of encouragement and it changes everything for a person. Your encouragement can make a big difference in people's lives. Number 5 is be kind. I could go into this in a big, big way, especially given today and what like we're being taught in schools today about races and a lot of different things. And the reality is if we taught children just to be kind, it would solve a lot of problems. And really teach adults to be kind. And I was talking with a teacher last night about this very thing. And she says, well, I teach middle school, which is grade 7 and 8, basically when all the kids are going through puberty. And I feel like the best way to describe those kids is their brain turns to mush for a couple of years, and then they get in high school and they start to bring their brains back to life. And I would just say that a little kindness in kids and adults. Plato says, always be kind, for everyone is fighting a hard battle. You know, you don't know what people are going through. And I mean, it's like, okay, so someone, I'll give you a funny example. I was driving on my way somewhere, and an older woman, I'm driving so this direction, an older woman had pulled out into the street right where I'm driving from the side street, if that makes sense. So I'm driving this way, she pulls out here blocking me. So I slowed way down and I went around her and then I honked the horn. And she's literally 75 or 80, and she gave me a finger, but it was not this finger. And I got about, I don't know, 200 feet past her, and I thought, well, that was kind of funny actually that she did that. But then I thought, maybe she couldn't see very well. Did I really need to honk the horn at her? No, I didn't. Especially given the fact that she, gave me a finger. Thinking, what in her life made her pull out in front and basically block the traffic? She almost took out a motorcycle ahead of me, so really there's an issue there. Maybe she shouldn't be driving. But I don't know what's going on in her life. Maybe she was coming from a doctor appointment where she got bad news. Could have been a million things. And I would just say that we don't know what people are going through. So just trying to be kind to others in every area might make all the difference in the world for that person. Number 6 is take the time to genuinely get to know people. I feel like a lot of people have surface relationships and really kind of go deep with very few people. And that's they do that to protect themselves in a lot of ways. But in reality, it's okay to go deep. And I actually recommend people, especially in like when you're talking to someone on the phone or in a business situation, you go deep right away. Don't be afraid to ask questions that may elicit a emotional response, especially given the fact that you have the chance to change that person's life from a product perspective or from a business perspective. But showing a genuine interest in the well-being of others will set you apart from the crowd in so many ways. Number 7 is invite people to lunch and host dinner parties. This was written pre-COVID for sure, but I think lunch and dinner. It's a breaking bread with people is a wonderful way to get to know them and relax. And I try to sometimes put together different people. I like to throw a dinner party, cocktail party, that kind of thing. I like to put different people in rooms that may not typically seemingly belong together and may not overlap. And then see what happens. And if you do that, again, you're working to just see if you can bring out and find people who are interested in your business. But at the same time, you're potentially developing relationships that could last for decades and even beyond. So the better you are at connecting others together, the more business will flow your way. Okay, I'm going to say that again. The better you are at connecting others, more business will flow your way. Number 8 is be generous with your time and resources. So volunteering time for a cause that you believe in is an amazing way to meet other people who also believe in the same cause. I would recommend in this area that you volunteer because you want to give back and you enjoy the rewards of networking and working with like-minded people, not because you're going to volunteer to sponsor people, if that makes sense. Keep that motive. It's not that motive is a bad thing. Yes, we want to sell products. Yes, we want to sponsor people. It's not the first thing I'm thinking about when I'm volunteering at the food bank, if you will. But you never know who you're going to meet and who you're going to click with and who you're going to connect with and what want, need, or desire they're going to relay to you. Number 9 is don't be afraid to go deep and meaningful. I kind of talked about this and intertwined it with taking the time to get to know people, but getting into meaningful conversations is a great way to be remembered. Okay. If you ask a meaningful question of someone, they're gonna remember you, and they're also gonna feel that you care for them and others. And that is a tremendous attribute that will take you a long ways. And number 10 is one that I often struggle with, but I'm working on it still to this day, probably 20 years or more after I started working on it, is remembering names. And I'll give you a little trick about remembering names. When you get introduced to someone at a meeting or something like that, and I say, "Hey, I'm Ty. How you doing? Nice to meet you." And they say, "Oh, I'm John." I try to say, "John, it's super cool to meet you." When I say his name back to him, I'm much more likely to remember. My wife is amazing at remembering names. I usually, many times, will rely on her. We'll meet 25 people at a meeting or an event or something like that, and we'll walk away from a group, and I'm like, what was that person's name? And she'll be like, "It's Gary. How about that person? Oh, that's Sharon. How about that? Oh, that's Diana." She's super good. That's another reason why people love her, and how you balance everyone's life out, finding a partner. Not 100% necessary, but for me, I don't know where I would be without my wife. So repeating the name, and like someone said in the comments, people also like to hear it. They like to hear their name. Another technique that many people use to associate a person's name, associate with what they do for a living. So if you learn that John is a baseball coach, then saying in your head, "John, baseball coach," you're connecting more than just the name to the face. You're connecting another attribute that will help you remember John, if that makes sense. Now, the beautiful thing is you can network anywhere, at any time, online, offline. It really doesn't matter. It's basically the same strategies, in my opinion, I believe. And these 10 things, along with the 3 basics that I outlined, I just believe that if you put those to use, your check is going to get bigger beginning this month and next month, and so on and so forth. Because again, it's like the number one attribute that I've found in networkers, that they're all people like those people. They want to be around them more. They want to hang out. They want to be a part of what they're doing. And so if you work on your personality, and it's never too late. I try to do this all the time. I feel like I've learned even a lot in the last year or two, based on our experience. But do that, and your check will grow. And I'm excited to see the new rank advancements in Australasia. I can't wait to see it happen. And Sharon, I'll just kick it back to you. Hope that was helpful.
That was wonderful. We had a good time in the chat too, which is always fun for our weekly Saturday. Does anybody
Awesome.
have a quick question before we let Ty go back to his weekend? I think, the simplicity of what you said, Ty, is something that nobody will leave here saying, "I couldn't do that." Right?
Yeah.
They'll leave here empowered that, wow, I can start this, and I can see that difference in the next quarter as well, Ty. I think that'd be fantastic. So now, all gratitude in the chat. So Ty, thank you so very much for being here. Lots of hearts, all clear, so doable. And thank you very much for being here with us. It really makes a difference.
Always a pleasure, and let me know how I can help in the future.
I will.
Take care, everyone.
All right, bye everyone. Thanks. Have a great weekend, everybody.